Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Todd, and I'm Todd Burgess inside Second Life. Our organization is called SAMSARA.rocks. You can visit us in Yongwang SIM. We've got a few sites to see, few stores that represent the albums of my rock band, and then there's also a recording studio that's within the Rockstar mansion. Rock stars are a thing, are a disappearing act nowadays. So it only happens in Second Life nowadays that you've got real rock stars. So check out our Rockstar mansion. And I've been in Second Life for 14 years, and I learned all kinds of tricks. I never got into mesh, but I decided to record my progression so you can follow along with me. If you learn anything from the stuff that I've learned over the years, and hey, that's great. Am I a professional? Do I make a lot of money in Second Life? Not so much. But I want to get out there and get to know people within the community. So I thought that this would be a good way. Okay, so the first thing that I did is I went to a marketplace. I build stuff. I've built houses. I could show you what I have later on in another video. But what I decided to do is just uh, I like texturing. I think one of my strengths is texturing. Okay, so I like working with Photoshop and importing textures. Now there's a 10 linden cost of every texture you import, so you don't want to be importing things that you don't think you'll need. Okay, and it also, I guess, helps Second Life with not, with people not importing things that they wouldn't be using. Okay, so however, I purchased this house on the marketplace, Second Life Marketplace. It was the company is called Testy Marketplace or Testa Marketplace, and he seems to have a lot of full perm, which means objects that have full permissions. That means you can either modify, copy, and or transfer them. Okay, and often you got to be careful because some creators put conditions with their full perm. For example, that you can only include them inside builds. In other words, bigger objects that you create. So let's say you would buy a full perm car. Well, in order to put it in your build, you would have to attach it to it. Okay, so be aware before you buy full perm. In this case, he said to use this full perm, I had to rub my tummy 5 times, and that's already done. Okay, so I rubbed my tummy 5 times. Now I know I can use this build and not have a problem. Okay, so what did I do? Well, I take a look at the build and I say, well, try to have a vision for it. I have my little, like, I'll be honest with you. My dad built a house. I loved it. I love it. We just sold it not long ago. But every time it seems I build something, it looks a bit like that. Okay, why? I don't know. I'm into that style. It's probably father-son thing. Okay, so I'll jump straight. Like okay, if you take a look carefully, if you right-click on edit, you will see 244 prims. Now, if you pay attention to the number of what are prims? Well, they're the details of the little objects. Each prim is a shape. In Minecraft, you got squares. In Second Life, you got all the different types of shapes. You got cylinders, rectangles. You can take these cylinders and rectangles and turn them into something else. So what I did is I took this house and I took off some stuff that I didn't see was needed because every prim takes away the possibility of putting in another prim. And now with meshing, a lot of objects don't take up a lot of prims, so a prim will go a long way. So if I could like reduce the prims of this house, I will. So if you pay attention, you see there's some bars on the windows. Not a lot of people steal in Second Life, so that's something that could be fixed. I could replace that with a textured window. So there's a few things I see that I could do. You see all these things at the bottom here are at the bottom of the house. You've got these little prims, just little prims. They're there. They're useless. They're just for looks. Okay, I don't even think they're useful. Okay, so what we're going to do is replace them. Okay, so I'm going to just take this house away. I'm going to delete it actually because I hope, like, once you've got a copy, modify, transfer house, you just res it as much as you want, delete it every single time. So let's delete it. Oh, hey, I got this done. I worked on it last night. Okay, I wanted to show you what it looks like when you start texturing. Okay, you see? And if you pay attention, I took the bars off the window on the second floor. I left them on the bottom floor. Makes it look like, you know, a real house. And then I took the little prims at the bottom. The other house didn't have windows in the back. So what I did is just get back up here. What I did was, you see, I made some windows. So how did I make those windows? Well, when he made the house, the prims were put in another way. So what I did is I isolated the prim, clicked on Edit Linked, and you see I could rotate it. And then if I go into Object, you see Hollow. If I reduce the hollowness, you see the window becomes smaller. Okay, you just have to make sure that the prim's in the right direction. You rotate it, and I also make sure that the rotation is precise. So when I build a house, I make sure everything's at 0 or 90 or 180, something really square and straight, so I don't have to calculate all the time. Okay, and if you take a look, you see I like 50%. I like big windows, and there's sky windows in here, so I didn't need windows in these rooms. They make these rooms a little more intimate for people who would like the intimacy. And then at the back, you see I put some more windows. So I'm modifying his house, or that house, beyond recognition. Okay, and so how do I get these textures in the game? Well, I really recommend you get some form of photo editor. There is now one in like Windows or even Photoshop. And make sure you get a legal version so that you don't get sued. And so what I do is I import a texture. So how would I do that? Actually go into build, sorry, and then you click on upload, and you see you can click on the image upload. I think you can't see it because of the way it's set up, but anyways, you can click on image upload, and then when you upload an image, you have to make sure it's smaller than 2000 pixels, okay? And if not, you have to go adjust it. So you would go back into your editor and adjust it to the right size. Square textures are better in most cases, but in other cases you want to upload it in a rectangular so that when you do put it in, it spreads apart. So there are different ways of working with textures, and you have to use a bit of vision when you're working with textures. Say, what will that texture look like once it's applied? And practice makes perfect. Okay, so you see, I like, in this case, you've got the bra rose texture. I got some wood flooring. It's good that you make sure that the textures are seamless. So what does that mean? Well, when you repeat them, that it doesn't look like they're a bunch of different or the same texture repeated, that it's just wood. And in this case, it actually works. Okay, so I may have had to upload a few textures before I found the one that really works for me. Okay, now I have them, and I abuse of them. I use them in most of my builds because I just love them. Now, if you take a look, it's unrealistic, and that's where I was at when I went to bed last night. It's unrealistic. You see, well, I got to be fixing all those textures on the walls here, okay? Make them look realistic. So I would select a face, and you see when I select this part, I can actually go in and click on texture, and then adjust it to size. Okay, so horizontal scale. Okay, yeah, that's good. So I'm also realizing that it's also the texture on here, you see? So what happened? Oh, so I want to make it as square as possible, as much as possible as the original texture, and this way I'm going to get matching sizes, you get? Or if you want it to be smaller, then just make sure everything's matching sizes. Okay, so in this case, you see, now, oh, the stones look sideways. So I would maybe click here and do 90 in the rotation. Oh, that didn't work. So then I'm going to make sure that this is big enough, and then make this texture smaller. And when I'm done, I'm pretty sure, you see, that's what it looks like. Okay, so you see I could probably make it like that and still look good. You see, it looks pretty good. Looks real. You see, it looks like a real ledge, a real stone ledge. Okay, so and so you want to be doing that on every single prim to make sure that the stone lines up, and the more attention to detail you pay, the nicer your build's going to look. Okay, so how do you apply a texture? Well, let's find a place where you want to apply a texture. I could apply a texture to one prim. I can apply a texture to many prims. I suggest that you know, I like efficiency, so I will find the textures I know I want to be coloring. Like in this case, I would like all these walls to be white stucco. We'll start with that. Okay, so I'll just click on the face, you see, and I press shift and then select every single wall I want. I can change the texture later on to one of the individual walls if I feel like, you know, I change my mind about the stucco thing, okay? But you'll see. So I just keep on turning, press shift. Oh, if I press twice, then it disappears. Press shift. Change all the textures. Click here. I uploaded a stucco texture. You try to find, well, you find textures that have no copyrights, okay, because you don't want to be sued. You see, oh, so I selected the texture. I found the stucco texture. I try to name my texture so that they're easily found by just typing the name of what I want. And you see, I apply them, and suddenly, whoop, all the rooms become white, and the house becomes so much nicer all of a sudden. Now, what do I see? Pretty, well, the texture is not very precise, so I'm going to want to be taking this and making it a little neater so that it looks like real stucco, okay? So I'm into that stuff. I'm into stucco, and I'm into like stone, and I'm into like all these natural things that make up, you know, for solid houses there, you know, and that last a long time. And also when you know, for example, you can build in Blender some mesh objects, and mesh objects will take up less prims, and then you can incorporate these mesh objects inside your build. And you see, I'm not at that yet. Okay, so I've got a whole bunch of texturing to apply, okay, and that'll take a while. So just to show you one more time how to do it on an individual prim, you would edit, select face, click on the texture, type the name of the texture that you want, and you just select it. Now let's say I want to adjust it right away. I've got the texture already selected. If I go to horizontal scale, you see, I can make the texture reproduce. I like to make it reproduce about 4 times. And then if I go here, and then 4 times, starting to look more like stucco, you see? I think this texture could be concentrated even more. So let's say we go up to, if I erase this, put 6, and then I put another 6 right here. Aha! That looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm just going to texturize this this wall for you to see. I would click Edit, select Face, and in this case, if you take a look carefully, there's six times that it can repeat on the prim, and it makes the texture a little more realistic, I would say. So if I shut this down, okay. So, you know, it'd take a few hours just to set up. Now, I want to modify this house to the point where the original builder maybe recognize it, but not all that much, okay? Why? Well, because I want it to be you know, a bit my build also. But I'm into prefabs. I mean, why? Like if I like the shape of it and I know I can turn it into something else, and he's got no problem with me doing it, then why not? You know. So I do whatever I have to do in order to get the results that I want. Okay, and I also make sure that I don't do anything that goes against copyrights, that goes against what people expect of us. You know, I just want to play fair, be a good citizen within the Second Life. You know. And by the way, I do this on a platform in the sky. When I raise a platform about as high as, well, I take a look at the people around me that have platforms, and I try to raise it at the same height as them. You see, he's got his little world there. And it just gives me a, you see, I got these really big prims that I made a platform with. If you look below, you will see, oh, it's my complex. You see, all these buildings are my complex. You see? Well, if I go too high, I don't see them anymore. But you see, as I go down, this is all the complex. I've got like a few buildings. I've got agenda. I mean, what am I saying? Agenda. It's Heart Set on Fire music. There's the museum. There's Permanent Damage music, which is our upcoming album. And this is Sounds of Absolute Power music. Whole bunch of rental places if you want to come and check out our rentals that are available. And I don't rent to make money. I rent so that people hang around in the sim. So yeah, well, I mean, I'm ready to cover the budget it takes to pay for the promotion of our band, you know. So yeah, so come and visit. We're in the sim of Yongwang in Second Life. Hang around, come and talk to me if you want to. And you know, I'm trying to develop. I'm back after a few years, so got to redevelop the community here. Okay, so I'm just going to go back up to say bye to the house so that you close off this video here. I'm not into making a video of slicing up all kinds of stuff there every 2 seconds, so you're gonna have to live with the things that may go wrong once in a while. You see, so this is the house that I'm working on. You can buy it for 30 lindens with no textures whatsoever, modifiable, and it's on Marketplace, okay? And it's called, I'll just find you the name here, it's called Basic House 3, I think it's it. Let's just see here. Basic House version 3, full perm. You see, so 30 lindens, you got yourself a nice build to start learning how to texture on. Okay, and if you can pull that off, then hey, you know, you're already a better Second Lifer. Okay, so it was nice having an opportunity to speak to you. I'll wish you an excellent day, and we'll talk to you in the next video.